Story 1. By the book.
20 plus years ago, I was working at a commissary, think grocery store, on an army post. I worked in the produce department, and one of our duties was to make fruit and vegetable trays for customers one order. I started out making them pretty much like everyone else. Celery in this spot, cherry tomatoes here, broccoli like so. One day an officer's wife asked if I could make a vegetable tray, but she wanted it a bit fancier. I love to cook and wow people with my knife skills. I sliced things thin and layered them, and pretty soon I had something that looked like it belonged on a wedding buffet. Of course other people saw it and they wanted something similar. So I became the veggie and fruit tray guy. My supervisor and I didn't get along very well. I would stop what I was doing and take a customer to the products they were trying to find, or I'd go and search if I didn't know where exactly, especially after a reset. For some reason my supervisor didn't like it. She didn't see it as going above and beyond, she saw it as abandoning my duties. Anyways, one day she told me that I couldn't make the trays anymore unless I followed the book which she handed me. No more fancy trays because it took too long. It took me the same amount of time as anyone else making a regular tray. I cracked open the book on my break and I smiled. You want by the book? You get by the book. The next tray I made took 4 hours. My boss almost went berserk. I told her that with each individual fruit or vegetable I had to wash, sanitize, and rinse them separately because that was what the book says. And with 8 different fruits or vegetables I had to spend about half an hour filling and draining the sink each time as to not cause cross-contamination. I transferred to a different section shortly after that.
Comment 1. Great MC. I hope the supervisor learned a lesson.
Comment 2. Gold standard of by the book. Salute to you, sir.
Comment 3. I would have loved to see the wife of command or flag rank go to get the new normal only to be informed he was no longer allowed. See how long that supervisor lasts.
Comment 4. I got transferred out of a Walmart dairy department for adhering to cold chain refrigeration rules. It literally started a fist fight I had to defend myself from because the existing worker in that department didn't have the time to adhere to temperature rules with dairy freight. Salary management moved me rather than enforced cold chain. Comment 5. Take a customer to the products they were trying to find, or I'd go and search if I didn't know where exactly. She saw it as abandoning my duties. My last retail position ended with a few of the newer-than-me managers disliking me for doing exactly this. But they couldn't actually do anything because the one time they tried, I pointed out that our SOPs and handbook literally say that I was supposed to bring the customer to the item, never just tell them where it was and send them on their way. It was wild because I was their best customer service-oriented employee, to quote management, because my customers often filled out those surveys, but I lacked work ethic for the exact same reason. Notably, while I was told that last bit of nonsense, it never once made it into an evaluation. Sometimes HR is good people. LOL.
Comment 6. This may also belong in r/malicious compliance.
Story 2. Send an internal approval doc to external to approve? Okadoc.
Disclaimers. 1. No one will be hurt by the MC following. The users involved have 20 plus years experience doing the thing, and this is a tick and flick document. 2. The document itself is a compliance document taken from a full evidence pack that should only be used in full and only by qualified assessors. This is legislation related to. So a few months ago, as usual, my boss finds a random bit of information that is affecting her KPIs. 30 people don't have box X ticked off because they've been in the company 20 plus years and Xbox was only initiated 5 years ago. So she finds an information pack containing all the requirements to get Xbox ticked. Pulls a single assessment page with the clear guide that it's for our team only to sign. Tells me via email to get all 20 people's external leaders to sign it as evidence. I was very aware this is not the correct way to do this. It's just the least amount of paperwork. So I did due diligence and took it sideways to the team next to us who handles stuff like this. Their leader authorizes it without thinking it through. I explained my hesitation and another leader overhears and also says if it's in writing you can action it with a sly smile. She knew what I would do. Lightbulb QMC. I sent the entire email chain unedited and pointed out both authorizations. Attached the piece of assessment and sent it with the list of names to all external leaders from the official shared inbox and not my own. I sent this on day one of my boss going on leave. I had 10 emails sent back in less than 30 minutes refusing to sign it with a big WTF. They CC'd in all relevant people and pointed out how this breaks compliance regulations. I replied excusing myself from future speculations until a directive from on high came down. 3 days later I start to hear rumblings from the big bosses at head office. My boss still isn't back and they would like an urgent meeting to discuss process. Outcome? My team is now required to get approval from the document control team before any external document is sent out. I've happily stopped editing the horrendous documents big boss sends me to send out. She doesn't ask for edits, grammar check, etc. I'm simply forwarding them to doc control from shared inbox with her signature still attached. They have been sending everything back, slowing the team down by days at a time per task. Since she didn't explicitly know or ask for me to edit in the past, she didn't know I stopped, therefore is very Pikachu face why suddenly her docs are all wrong. Her KPIs are tanking.
Comment 1. Never fix a superior's mistakes in a doc after they've handed it off to be delivered and won't see it again. Not only will you be doing invisible work you'll never get credit for, you're also setting yourself up to take the blame for some future problem if it ever comes out. After all, any future error might have been introduced in your unreviewed edits. And if you want a more generous interpretation, not showing people what they're messing up means they keep making the same mistakes forever. Comment 2. Incomprehensible. Comment 3. Never heard the phrase tick and flick before, till that it's an Aussie banking term. Comment 4. Check sub, yep.
Comment 5. I don't think a TLDR would have helped this story. Comment 6. What corporate jargon-fed AI did this?
Story 3. My mom's school not enforcing dress code came back to bite it.
So, I heard this story from my mom just now. Malicious compliance at its finest, she said. The school my mother works at has been very lax with enforcing its dress code lately, and because of that a lot of girls have been carelessly breaking it. She's seen girls come to school in sports bras and booty shorts, it's that bad. They will throw a hoodie over a crop top in the middle of winter. It's just really bad, basically. So one day, the superintendent decides to come in, and the assistant principal decides to enforce the dress code for once in a while. She tells the campus security officer, who will call Jay for the sake of anonymity, to bring violators to her. And oh boy, did Jay ever. Jay held open the door to the assistant principal's office and waved every single dress code violator she could find. Office filled in seconds. It was really that bad. In the words of the assistant principal, it's just midriff and boobs. LOL.
Comment 1. As a high school teacher, I tried to enforce the dress code a few times. It never helped learning. I decided to just be oblivious to it because the parents would come in with even less clothes on yelling at me, and it never ended well. In addition, as a male, I would then face discipline for noticing dress code violations of high school girls in the first place. It just was 100% problematic. I stuck to teaching. Comment 2. I'm imagining the assistant principal's office looking like one of those "how many people can we get into a phone booth?" things from the past. For anyone born after the invention of the smartphone, the TARDIS is really quite small. Comment 3. Always find those dress code topics funny. That bad. Other countries do not even have dress codes for schools at all. Who cares what the pupils are wearing? Comment 4. One of my friends got a shirt that said this one time. To-do list. Your mom. The day he wore that to school was the day we discovered that the school would rather have you shirtless, at least for boys, It's what they'd do for girls, than wearing funny shirts.
Comment 5, very nice. Most school dress codes go too far IMHO. Teen boys need to learn how not to ogle women in public. That being said, some kids do need to be talked to about it. My kids are both in high school right now, and we regularly see a particular girl wearing a very thin, very obviously lingerie cropped satin camisole that is a little too big for her, thus it's in constant danger of falling off her shoulders, also with very obviously nothing under it.
Comment 6, dress codes are stupid.